I cannot stand Mr. Baseball.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
I knew it.
Here we go.
Yeah, I tried to throw a little bit back.
Love that logo, love that jersey, love that color scheme, everything about it. Welcome back to the second half, and we're going to be talking about some dangerous sports. I think we gotta start, and this could end up being where we stay for the entire second half. I don't know. We got to talk about Ice Wars, man.
Yes.
So I got to tell you
Yes.
how I found out about this.
Please do, because I am curious on how you found out about this.
Okay, so I was watching the movie Goon the other day. And I remembered in the second film, they had the fighting league. Did you ever see? You saw the sequel, right?
Actually, no, I've never seen Goon 2.
Okay, so in Goon 2, him and
Spoiler alert.
Ross the Boss, they fight in like this underground hockey fighting league, right? And I'm like, I know there's a Canadian hockey league that is known for being more or less a fighting league and not so much a hockey league. They play hockey games, but it's known more for fighting than hockey itself. But I couldn't find it. I ended up finding it just now in between periods. But I stumbled over Ice Wars in this search for the LNAH, which is a French-Canadian hockey league. It's like the lowest level of professional ice hockey in Canada. And the LNAH averages 3.2 fights a game. It is considered the toughest hockey league in North America. But enough about that. That's for another day. We're going to talk about Ice Wars.
Yeah.
How do we want to describe Ice Wars?
I want to say MMA on ice, almost, because right before we started the second half, we watched a small clip that you found, and describing it is basically the ring is the normal ice boards, the whole 9 yards, but in a smaller confined. You don't drop the gloves. You basically just go at it. You go into it like you would be like.
Would you say it's more like MMA, or would you say it's more like boxing? Because there were no takedowns, and no one's trying to do like a. You're not going to see someone in like a leg lock with skates.
I think I said more MMA because of watching the video. They wore MMA gloves. I think that's why I went towards that direction with it. But no, it's more of like just going straight into
like a hockey fight.
It's going straight into it, where there's no like build up. It's just boom, there it is. But some of the fights
and they have helmets on.
It's a full gear. It's full gear. It's full gear like you would see in an NHL game or just a regular hockey game. Minus the gloves, the regular hockey gloves being tossed off. But also, you have just MMA gloves. Go right into it. No, just boom, there it is. And some of the fights we saw were like, holy crap, this is...
Yeah.
Some of the knockouts, I mean, there were clear knockouts of that.
That one where both guys fell over and the ref almost got sliced with the... Yeah. Woo, that was scary. Now, what I'm interested in is how many of these guys are former hockey players.
Yes, I was actually just thinking that myself.
No, there's a guy that fights out of King of Prussia.
I was just thinking of that myself. Like, how many of these are ex-NFL NFL, ex-NHL or just regular hockey players that are here?
Right. Like, I'm kind of curious in that. Like, what's
the criteria of becoming this type of person? Events, the fighters.
There, you don't get much of a bio. I clicked on one of them, and
Oh, did you?
there's not much. Yeah.
Well, let's find something out here. James Brooks. Who is James the Hooligan Brooks?
I mean, it's an interesting visual, and something I noticed, based on some of the clips I've seen on YouTube, is that they contour the rink for the venue. So if they're in a small arena, the rink is like a 20 by 20, almost like an iced squared circle, like you would see for boxing or wrestling. And then
Yes.
I saw an ice octagon setup for another video, and then the one we saw, which I would say was in like a bar, was a much
It's what it
smaller
looked like.
setup.
It's what it looked like. Pretty much the video we saw right before we started the second half was literally somebody in a bar set up a miniature ice rink, and that's what they had.
Basically,
that's literally
yeah.
what it looked like. Now, I would love to know like what the background of these people are. Like if it's ex-hockey players or just ex-boxers, just in general.
Well, it could be a combo for all we know.
Oh, absolutely. It could be a combo.
But I'm so intrigued. Like, which came first, the sequel to Goon or Ice Wars?
Yeah, at that point, who knows?
Although I think it's more rooted in the Battle of the Hockey Enforcers than probably inspired by Goon. Because the Battle of the Hockey Enforcers was a real thing, where former enforcers who've retired fought on the ice for a one-night thing. Yeah.
Just got. I looked up one of the guys on that website for Ice Wars, and he played in some game. Not a lot, but some games. Not anywhere in the AHL, NHL, even the ECHL. But he was there.
Well, that's something.
Yeah. Looking at his whatever league the LNAH is.
That's the one.
5 games in 21-22, 13 and 22-23. Total of 30 minutes of penalties in that first season and 85 the next.
So it's LNAH for the French Canadian crowd. It is the North American Hockey League for the English speaking crowd. So let's tie it back to this, I guess. That was founded in 1996. There are 7 teams. They all exist in Canada. But it is known for its extremely hard-nosed type of play.
So yeah, he spent a couple of times there.
Okay, just to clue you in on how tough the LNAH is. I'm going to give you one guess. And it's someone that we saw play live for the Flyers. What former Flyer who could fight from the 2000s?
There's a lot of...
Your brother was even excited to see this guy throw down the gloves when we saw them.
Donald Brashear.
Yep. Brashear played in this league.
Really?
Yes.
Now I got to look this up. I got to look this up now.
And it was during the lockout he played there.
No shit. There's his name. There's his name. Holy shit. We've got his autograph too. Oh shit.
For those of you listening at home, David's mind is completely blown.
Yes, it is.
You're going to be looking up videos of this league, aren't you?
Yes. Yes. Well, look at just going over some of these names here. The one guy looks like he's from the Iowa Stars of the minor leagues. Marc-Andre Bergeron, he played for the Hurricanes. No shit. They even have former goalies. Now that would be something to see in goalie, like in full goalie gear. Oh, that would be cool to see. Oh my god, that would be awesome. Wouldn't that be cool to see that instead of like the normal, like in full goalie gear? Like if you played as a goalie, that's what you got to dress as. Think about it. You go to a hockey game and you see goalies fight, which is a rarity alone. I've only ever seen that like maybe 2-3 times out of all the times I've gone to games, and the excitement that brought. Imagine doing it here, like that's how they have to perform.
I love how hyped you are about this.
Patrick Cote? Really?
Okay, so I think for the sake of the description, this is going to be this is not going to be Most Dangerous Sports. It's going to be Ice Wars and LNAH.
It just, I think this is all constantly. I think this just changed right now to everything. Because right now I'm just looking up some of these players' names here. Of like shit.
On YouTube, there is a 20-minute short documentary from Vice about the LNAH. And then there is from 3 years ago, there's a compilation of crazy moments in the LNAH. It is known as an enforcers league. So that should tell you something.
Well, the fact is that I looked up so far 2 names that it says some NHL in their Wikipedia, some NHL players such as, and they have, I already saw 2 goalies already on there, which just kind of gives me the impression of, or not the impression, but the thought of they need to have Ice Wars as goalies. Yes.
No, he was Brashear was playing in there in 2013. Okay, for a future episode, we might have to do a watch along of one of these things.
From 2010 to 2013, he was over there. So I actually just brought up his Wikipedia. So he actually did a stint in 04-05. Then he did a 2010 to 2013 over there.
Holy shit.
What?
Guess who is the brains behind Ice Wars International?
I'm scared to know.
Does the Danbury Trashers say anything to you?
Danbury Trashers?
As in the Danbury Trashers of the Netflix documentary about them. And how they were one of the most violent teams in minor league hockey for a brief period. And the person who owned it was also involved in the mob.
Why does that not surprise me at that point?
His son, who was the general manager of the team as a teenager, is the brains behind Ice Wars International. This just got even more interesting to me. Like, how did we get to this?
By the mob. That's funny.
He is the president of Ice Wars, and he was the general manager of the Danbury Trashers from 2004 to 2006 at the age of 17.
I'm sorry, what?
He was
Did you say he was
17
the owner at the age of
He's the
17?
owner of Ice Wars now. But when he was 17, he was the general manager of the Danbury Trashers, which was the team his dad owned in the UHL. If you have not watched this Netflix documentary, it's one of the Untolds that they
I
do.
will have
If
to
you haven't
now.
watched it, you have to watch it because it's crazy. It is crazy, the story behind this team, and the fact that this guy is now the brains behind Ice Wars International is even more crazy now.
The fact that he was at the age of 17, he was a general manager is kind of ridiculous.
Well, it was his dad. His dad owned the team.
Oh, that's true. Well, the team was founded in 2004 and then folded in 2006.
Yes, that was arrested on charges relating to unfairly controlling the garbage industry through his connections.
Hence the name.
I love everything about this now. Like this, it makes so much sense now that this is the person who is the brains behind Ice Wars International.
What's the documentary called?
Oh boy. You're going to make me work tonight, aren't you?
Yes, I am. I have to.
Untold Crimes and Penalties on Netflix.
Well, I think, you know what? I think I actually have that on my...
It's good. It's
I think I have that saved. I do have that on my list. Okay, that is on my Netflix list.
It is good.
Okay, yes. It's actually on my next... And I just yet to get a chance to watch it. So now I have to make an appointment. Thank you very much for having me do this now. This is like my homework now.
You're not going to be disappointed. Trust me.
This is probably going to be my homework now. Thanks. Appreciate it. I thought I was done with homework. Yay.
Yeah, this is great. I love everything about this now because it's so... How did everything wrap back to this freaking Danbury Trashers team? That's the best part.
That's funny.
I love it. I love everything about it. Absolutely.
Let's go down the rabbit hole. Let's go down the rabbit hole. The fact that we start off with Ice Wars and all that, and now we're at the Danbury Trashers and
how it
documentaries of mobs.
Wars.
Yeah, how it all just follows back, and why does it not surprise me to begin with? But let me look up this guy. See if we might be able to get an idea of, because the one guy has a hockey background. Let's see what this guy has, if I can find anything on him. Let's see here. So we Rocky Mountain Hockey League, Chris Lockhart. Rocky Mountain Hockey League, because it just shows him what looks like in a MMA stance.
Who
If it's the
was
same
it
guy.
that they signed
Excuse me, jeez.
to play there during the lockout?
Well, I know what I'm doing tomorrow. Son of a bitch. But yeah, no, Ice Wars, just watching some of the fights on here, it was almost like a Rock'em Sock'em Robot, is what I really have to say what it looked like.
Yes. I mean, it looked really cool.
It yeah, and literally the one we saw right before we hit the record button on the second half, like somebody just built a miniature ice rink in a bar, and that's what it looked like.
Yeah. But I mean,
I mean, you're on
Pardon me.
skates. I mean, you know yourself, skates are not dull items. They are very sharp.
Yeah,
And how many things can go wrong at that point?
but I mean, they were moving like hockey players would move in a
Yeah,
fight.
but you can move like hockey players would fight in general, and still bad things can happen.
That's
But
true.
still, no, yeah, it was like Rock'em Sock'em Robots and some of the hits that were landed were like, holy crap.
Ugh. That's who it was.
Jeez.
It was Mike Rupp who played for the Danbury Trashers during the lockout.
Why does that name sound familiar?
Played for the Devils, Coyotes, Blue Jackets, Penguins, Rangers, and the Wild.
That's probably why. That is probably why.
I don't know if I can add to this. This has just been absolutely fantastic.
It has
all
been.
we've unearthed just from one clip of Ice Wars.
As how much we've gone down the rabbit hole with this, and this was supposed to be a half of Most Dangerous Sports, but we went down the rabbit hole, and here we are.
We ended up at the Most Dangerous Game.
I would say the most interesting, that has a little story detail behind it.
I'm just
of how this all like.
Of course,
with it.
Of course, the kid who was the general manager of the most violent team in minor league hockey is the brains behind Ice Wars International. Like, it makes
Does that shock you at
sense.
this point? Does that shock you at this point?
No, it makes total sense.
Exactly. Again, does it shock you? No.
I'm just I got nothing. I got nothing to add to this.
Jason's
I'm so. Of course, this kid. He's like 2 years younger than me. Of course, guy. Of course, this guy is the brains behind Ice Wars International. Like, no one else would think of this.
Oh man, gotta love Ice Wars. But yeah, all Ice Wars is basically somebody just putting a rink in just an area.
It's
and
boxing on blades.
With full gear too. And that's the thing, though. They're in full gear. It's not like they're just in street clothes on skates. They're in full gear, minus the gloves, minus the hockey gloves. But they're in full gear. Which, like I said, if you were a goalie, you have to do a goalie fight. You have to get into full goalie gear.
I think Ron Hextall's a little too old. And he's got enough problems on his hands right now. He's not a good GM from what I hear.
Yeah. No. Well, he was the Flyers GM, then went to the Penguins GM, so, got let go there. So, there's that.
Well, then Ice Wars, he's available. I don't think I have anything to. I can't add anything else to this.
I think we've exhausted this one.
This is the most ridiculous second half we've ever had.
And the fact that Ron Hextall is actually 59. So I think fighting in Ice Wars. Yeah, I think Ice Wars is kind of be like,
He could be the GM of the goalie division.
There you go. Oh, I wonder if they do have divisions.
They have weight divisions. I don't think they have They should actually have position divisions, like a defense. That'd be an enforcer division.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah, but thing is though, a defenseman could also play as a forward too, just kind of going.
You're fantasy booking the shit out of this in your head. I can see it.
You see the smoke coming out of my ears?
I do.
I mean, you could have a skaters division with the weight classes. You can have a goalie division with the weight classes. I'd watch it.
All
I'd
right,
100% watch it.
let's wrap this up because
I would 100% watch that. I would 100% watch that. I mean, tonight's heavyweight bout between ex-NHLer so-and-so in the goalie division for the title. We have. I mean, think about it. You see a goalie fight. I mean, shit. Who's gonna pass that up? Who's gonna pass up watching a goalie fight?
butterfly stance won't save you in this league.
Nope. That it will not. Okay, I gotta save these pages here. Oh, son of a bitch. Here we go. Now, oh, trust me, Jason, probably tomorrow you're gonna be getting messages from me like, holy shit, what is going on? This is awesome. That's what you're probably gonna get.
I'm telling you that documentary is really good, and you're gonna be like, "Holy f!" constantly.
Again, you're gonna be getting probably messages from me like, why did we not do this sooner?
No, it's gonna be more like, how the hell did they get away with this for so long? That's what it's going to be.
That too. That's probably what it's going to end up being. I can guarantee you that one. I know I'm definitely going to go down the rabbit hole on that one. That's for sure. Holy crap.
While drinking some rabbit hole. There you go.
I could do that too. Yes.
Good.
Yes. Go down the proverbial rabbit hole with rabbit hole, which is one of my favorites. So there you go.
All right. I think it's safe to call this, and that is the end of the second half.
As we're both excited, like kids in a candy store.
I can't. Of course, it makes total sense that the guy behind ice boxing is the kid who was the GM of the Danbury Trashers that his dad, the mobster, owned. All right, let's give a quick plug.
That's not a shocker. That's not a shocker.
No, not at all.
What if it's still mob owned? Or has like a little funded by the mob.
I feel like the dad would be dead by now if that was the case, and I think he might still be alive. I'm not sure.
But either way, it could still, have influences on it.
It could.
Okay, before we go deeper down to the rabbit hole.
Yeah, and it's getting late here. Let's give a quick plug to the 2216 podcast, which is hosted by our friend Dave and his buddies Greg and Jake. It is a small town rural firefighter podcast. They share their stories about their time as firefighters and as chiefs in small town fire companies. There's a big, strong focus on the mental health aspect of being a first responder. And their friendship shines through in every episode. It's always a good listen, even if you're not into that sort of lifestyle. It is. I've come away from some episodes with things that I've learned that can help me better in just regular life. So it's a really good listen. You can find that wherever you get your podcasts. You can also check out The Other Ship. It is a pop culture podcast with a pro wrestling lean. I was just on there last week for an episode about underrated sports films, and it's gotten some really good reviews. And one of my picks was Mystery Alaska, and I know a few people have commented about how they never even thought to watch that movie, and now they've watched it and they found it to be quite enjoyable. You can find The Other Ship wherever you get your podcasts as well. If you like their show, check out the Other Ship podcast Facebook group, which I'm an admin of. Always a fun time, and it's not always PG-13 in there is how I will word it. And in true focus of the podcast, we're all over the place with what we post. It's not just wrestling, lots of pop culture stuff, lots of old school nostalgia, like fast food stuff from Dinosaur Dracula we share. If you want to see like 200 people talk about Cheddar Jack Doritos from 1990, this is the place for you.
Is that just as bad as us keep talking about Sobe?
It's pretty much the same.
Mr. Green?
David, you're the audience for this group. Trust me.
Still miss Mr. Green, though.
That was on. We talked about that on the Foods We Miss episode from a few months ago.
That was a good one.
It was a good one. All right. Well, thank you for joining us for episode 76 of the Not Another Sports Podcast. You can find us online at our Linktree account. That link is in every description of every episode. Click that. That'll take you everywhere you want to be to find us on social media. Please feel free to like, comment, message us. That's why we have social media accounts. We are available for streaming or download on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podcast Addict, Audible, iTunes, or I already said Apple Podcasts,
We're everywhere,
iHeartRadio,
basically.
Pandora. We're no longer on Stitcher because Stitcher merged with someone else, and I can't think. Oh, Stitcher merged with Pandora. We're already on Pandora. But yeah, you can find us wherever you want. You can also watch us on YouTube. Again, that link is also in the Linktree account that you can click on in every episode if you want to sit and watch us react to what we found out tonight. Please feel free to do that because we were very animated tonight.
I feel like a kid in a candy store watching that. It's like, oh, here we go.
But wherever you listen to us or watch us, please do not forget to subscribe, rate, and review. Let people know what you think of us. Let us know what you think of us.
Exactly.
With that, my name's Jason.
I'm David.
And we'll talk with you next time.
Have a good one.